Go.
All right, and today on the show we have Veronica Alvarez. She's the A's Director for Player Development in Latin America. She is the USA Baseball Women National Team head coach, and she's MLB's ambassador to girls baseball. Veronica, thank you so much for coming on the show. How are you doing?
Very good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so I mean, I want to just start with something that happened just recently this weekend, which is, of course, Jen Powell's debut as the first female umpire in Major League Baseball. Um, I was wondering if you could give us your perspective both on the feat and how difficult it is for anyone to get to that level.
Yeah, I mean, just becoming a player to make it to the big leagues is difficult, and the same goes for the umpires, right? They're all working through the minor league affiliate system and go moving up levels as they improve as well. So for her not only to enter this space where women are a minority, but also be able to move through the ranks and to get to the point where she's now a major league umpire is pretty impressive. And I think to a person who doesn't understand that process, or at least those moving through the system like that, it might seem like, I don't know, maybe not too impressive, or she was pushed through because she's a woman, or all these negative things you might hear. But it's not that easy to do, no matter how you present. So it's a huge accomplishment for her and for future women entering the space.
Uh, just as you talk about being an ambassador to girls and women in baseball. Where do you see the next steps going? Maybe in the next 5, 10 years in terms of women's involvement in the sport.
The goal is that it becomes a common part of the conversation, and therefore not even a conversation, right? That
Mhm.
we're just part of the growth of the game and the development of the players and things like that, without anyone having to discuss it. It's always a conflicting thing, right? Like, we want it to be the norm, and we want it to kind of be an unspoken thing, just because that's where we're supposed to be. People accept us in this space, but we also recognize the importance of highlighting women in the space, so because it's not common yet, right? And we want young girls to know there's a space for them in the game. We want um, men that haven't experienced women in the game to know that we function really well in that space, and that it's no different than having another guy that could do the job. And so the awareness aspect of it is conflicting at times, because we don't want to highlight these things as first or like a big deal, but also like super important to bring awareness to the fact that we do have a space in this game, and that we can thrive in this game and be really good for it.
Yeah, that makes a
So yeah,
lot of
so I don't know if I answered your question,
No,
but
you good.
my goal is that we're a common part of the equation in professional baseball, because we are really big. We can be, and we are really big contributors to the game.
Yeah.
This is entirely hypothetical and entirely a joke, but if Jen Powell was umpiring a game that you were playing in and you grounded out to first, would it be considered a double play right now?
God.
Which
So,
is congratulations on the pregnancy is all
oh
Thank you.
yeah,
Oh yeah. Thank you. Yes.
the reason I
Um,
bring it up,
I'm I'm 11 days away. So, oh
11
wow.
days.
Yeah. Not
The
that
reason I wanted to bring it up is because I saw the maternity pants that the A's made for you. I thought those were so cool.
Yes, yes. Another sign that I have been accepted in the space, right? And so when we talk about women in baseball and things like that, um, I think those are really important conversations. They made me custom maternity baseball pants, right? And that's speaks to who they are and how they treat me in the organization, and the place I have in the organization as well, right? And what I've done. My part that I've done. So it's really important until I highlight, and I wanted to make sure that when I posted that, I wanted to make sure that it was known, because it's so important, right? That they've treated me like an equal and value me in that space enough to make me a pair of pants that make me fit in. Like, you couldn't tell during spring training that my pants were any different, but they allowed me to function even pregnant. So it's been awesome, and they've grown with me. And I was wearing them until, I think I wore them until like 34 weeks. I haven't had to wear them since, but it's pretty awesome.
That
No,
is
that is
very
great.
cool.
That is awesome. Can I just ask, how did you get your start in baseball?
I grew up playing baseball. I was a little girl that wanted to play baseball, not softball, and grew up in Miami doing so, and then eventually switched to softball. just because of the opportunities. A friend of mine's mom kind of convinced me. Switched over to softball, played collegiate softball at Villanova University in Pennsylvania, and then played a summer in Spain. And when I came back from Spain, I was just looking for more opportunities to continue playing and found the women's national team. And so I played on the women's national team from 2008 to 2015. And I knew once I stopped playing, I wanted to coach. So I just kind of went all into coaching. I was also a firefighter, so I was doing that at the time, and it allowed me to say yes to opportunities that came my way. And so I literally said yes to everything without knowing if it worked for my schedule. I would just rearrange my firefighting schedule. And that got me experience. It allowed me to know who I was as a coach. And then it also put me in front of people that were really important connections in my process to get to professional baseball.
When you're going through that process, I mean, how does that help you in your role in player development in terms of both finding talent and optimizing it at that level?
Yeah, I mean that everything that I always say everything I've done in my life, whether it seems relevant or not, has contributed to me being my best self in this role in this position. Firefighting seems so far off, and yet there are so many things within that field that have made me better. Human development, human behavior, watching how people work under pressure, having to work under pressure, right? All of those things that in
Communication,
life,
I'm sure.
life-threatening situations and things like that. So it's helped me learn how to control my own, nerves or whatnot in these spaces where, I was the first woman or the only woman on field in 2019. I go to throw BP. You can imagine everyone's watching me, right, to see
Right.
if I can do this. And there's a level of nerves that come with that, even though throwing is my favorite thing and I know I could do it. So being able to control my breathing and my heart rate and everything like that came from firefighting and those high stress situations. But so many of those things and so many of the jobs that led to this have contributed to my my current profession, right? And I love it. I love human development, so that's where I love like analyzing my program in the DR and seeing like what is going wrong, what can we do better, and how do we implement that, right?
Mhm.
And so when I was assigned this position, this is my third season doing it. We had some flaws in our system, and we weren't producing our international signees into players in our system. Like they just weren't becoming anything, right? And so my whole thing was, what is happening? What can we do better? And then implementing that. So historically, I think you could recognize that the A's are a very American-based organization. And even now, if you look at our big league team, most of those guys we've developed in our system. They were
Mhm.
players that we drafted. They were players that we developed and that have now become major leaguers. And so the fact that we weren't doing that for international players, there was a fall off. And so
Yeah.
just being able to analyze that and now we're seeing more movement and I'm very proud of it. We're now currently two in the entire Dominican Summer League, number two out of 52 teams, I believe it is.
Oh, that's
That,
great.
that wasn't happening before. So
Yeah.
putting a lot of moving pieces and a lot of people working together to get to this point.
Yeah.
But hopefully you'll see more of our Latin guys make it to the big leagues. And we had our first one, at least from when I've been in charge, make it, and he had his first big league start yesterday. So though it's a small sampling, we see a lot more production of the way we're developing our players and how they're moving through our system.
Excuse my ignorance. Who was it yesterday that started for you guys?
Luis Morales.
Okay. And so
Uh,
what's that feeling like when it was like, oh, okay, wow, this is the fruit of my labor right here.
Incredible, right? I'm super proud of him, for him, I'm so excited. But also for our other Latin players to see that what we've been preaching for the last 3 years isn't just to waste oxygen, right? It's we could like follow us and listen to us, and I promise that we're trying to do our best for you so that you do have success moving through our system. So I think it brings hope to our young guys down in the DR that are 17, 18, 19 years old for them to continue working hard. It's a long road, but hopefully, if they follow suit and implement those things, and some of them will have that success.
No, no, when you're, I mean, obviously you are accepted, you're respected in this role, but have you seen the perception about women in baseball changed in over the past 10, 15 years?
Definitely. I mean, I think that it's hard sometimes, if women that have played baseball, like in the women's national team, when you get them together, they always want bigger change, which I understand. We want faster change historically as women in male dominated spaces. But the truth is that it's not always going to be fast, right? And so appreciating the smaller steps, I think, is part of what we should be doing. And I think that there has been so much movement in the last, I mean, since 2019, I mean, which
Mhm.
was only 6 years ago, right? And so for the last 10 years, it's the same. And though it's a trickling here and there, I think that the women that are involved in professional baseball right now are doing a really good job of setting the tone of what the organization should expect out of their female employees, right, on field women, and I think that we're individually doing our part within our organizations to prove that more women belong in the game. So I think there has been a movement, right? When I first got to the A's, though they've always been great with me, there was skepticism, right? And then they
Every
quickly
time.
saw that that I fit right in the way I behaved, but also in the way that I understood the game and taught the game. And so they quickly jumped on board, and we have two other women now on field within the A's organization as well. So um, you see that if you're looking for it, you can see that those changes have come. There's
Yeah.
still there's still a long way to go. I'm very much a positive person, and I've had a positive experience. Um, I think, due to both sides, me, the way I am and the way the organization is. But there are still a lot of strides that we need to take, and there are women that are experiencing negative things. So finding a way that we can navigate that so that, yeah, the doors just continue to stay open.
Yeah. I just think back to my personal experience, like when I started, I'm the beat writer for the Mets, and when I started in baseball, it felt like you walked into the room and you had to prove that you knew anything about anything. And a
Yeah,
man my age would walk into the room and everyone would assume that he knew everything about everything.
right.
And so that was my frustration because it was like you always had to prove yourself and prove yourself. And if you screwed up, you reflected an entire gender. But if a
Right.
man screws up, he just reflects himself. And so I like to see the fact that those perceptions are slowly starting to shift. And when I
Yeah.
say slowly, I mean slowly.
Slowly,
I still don't know
slowly.
what a balk is. I have no idea.
It's still a factor, right? And that's why I would say the women that are in professional baseball are probably the harshest critics of other women.
Yeah,
Not because we don't want them in it, right? But because we don't want organizations to select a woman because she's a woman, right? And I know you probably feel the same. We want just like Jen Powell, right? We want qualified people in those roles so that because of that, right? Because if you mess up, it reflects on the entire gender, right? And it kind of holds the people behind you up.
right.
Um, and it's not fair. This is not fair at all, right? But it is something that we still need to deal with, and um, the goal is that we move away from that as much as possible. But all those things like you talked about, like having to prove yourself, I feel like that those have given us superpowers into getting into spaces and proving ourselves and being better communicators, right? And being everything. Like my example is always the 6'5" former big leaguer tells a player something and they automatically listen because of the way they present, right? But the one time they don't listen, that coach doesn't know how to get to that player, right? And it's super frustrating. They almost give up on them. They're like, I don't know, he's not listening. I guess I'm just gonna move on. He doesn't care, right? And so because we've always had to um, prove that we belong or that we have the knowledge or whatnot, we have the skills to navigate those players that don't necessarily just listen because you present a certain way, right? And so
Yeah.
those difficult players, I feel like are probably our secret, are like the thing that we can handle that other people can't handle, right? And so to me, it's not hard to deal with a player like that. Like we know
Mhm.
how to navigate somebody like that and find a way to communicate with them.
That's funny. I have similar interactions when I'm interviewing ball players. Like there'll be certain players and they're like, oh, he's a really tough heart. He's a tough nut to crack. And then I'll just start talking and I'll be like, no, he's not. What are you talking about?
Right. Yeah. Like, no, I got them really easy, right? And so
It's always
I really think it gives us a certain superpower in those situations. And those are the players usually want to get to, right? The other guys are going to listen to you. They're the marathon guys or the sprint guys. And it's like the sprint guys I'll deal with right now, right? And the marathon guys, they'll jump on board eventually because they're watching and trying to see what I have to offer. And eventually they want it, right? They want to be their best. So if I could offer them some information that's going to help them do that, they're going to listen.
absolutely. I mean, and so obviously, like we're seeing women slowly kind of crack that glass ceiling in baseball. What do you think the next step is? What is going to be the next milestone you feel for women in this sport?
Oof. I don't know. It's so conflicting, right? We want, like, I love hearing the first, but at the same time, I'm like, how is the first in 2025, right? Like,
Right.
how did it take this long for the first to happen? And so I'm always conflicted with the excitement of the first, but also like, what the hell? Like,
Yeah.
how did it take this
Come
long,
on.
right? Um, but I don't know. I think that definitely the first big league manager that's a female is gonna blow some minds. It's gonna wreck the internet. People are gonna like it's just gonna be overwhelming.
Yeah.
Uh, so but I think it'll happen. I think that we have people moving up in the ranks and that are qualified or will eventually be qualified to do that job. And but it's gonna be a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Um,
I'm sure the people on social media will react in
Perfectly
reasonable.
rational takes, I'm sure, all across the board.
yeah, yeah.
Very rational.
I want to, because the Little League Softball World Series was over the weekend, and I watched some of it in the championship, which was so great. Really good game actually. But you mentioned that you played baseball and softball. What's kind of like the not career trajectory, but what makes someone kind of decide to go one way or the other? It's like you're a better fit for softball or you're a better fit for baseball. Like, what are the differences or kind of the nuances there that
I
might
think
dictate someone's
that,
choice to like pursue
yeah,
one or the other?
right. I think that, I mean, I currently, like, being MLB's girls baseball ambassador, I work on all of MLB's youth baseball events for girls. There are three major ones. I pretty much have interacted probably with the majority of girls that play baseball at this point, especially the ones that played in high school. I probably know them, right? I would say there's a 95% chance I know every single one of them, right? And so um it's always a topic of conversation, but I don't even know where to start on here. But at the
It's yeah, I
beginning,
imagine
like
it's very complex. Yeah.
at the beginning, so there's girls that are like me, like I wanted to play baseball, right? Like
Hmm.
that's what I wanted to do. Like
Yeah.
I guess fast foot softball wasn't an option back then for me right at the start. So maybe a little bit different, but like we have girls right now that they just come out and they say, I want to play baseball, I don't want to play softball, right? And then there are the girls that are like, I don't even know what baseball is, that softball is the route, right? That's what I've seen and that's what I want to do. Um, so I think a good majority are like that. But the issue comes at the little league level when they go to sign up for the sport is does somebody let them play baseball? Does a parent support it? Does the league support it? Um, or do they automatically push them to the softball table because they're a girl, right? So I think our biggest conflict right now in the US with growing women's baseball is that most people are brainwashed to think that girls play softball and boys play baseball,
Right.
right? And they can imagine the opposite, right? And even though both exist for both. So um I think that's an issue at the little league level, and I would love for little league to support a girls baseball program for that sense as well of like, oh, you're a girl, you want to play baseball, sure, you can go sign up here, right? Either girls baseball or if we don't have girls baseball, there's boys baseball, but not necessarily shutting them down to that choice.
Right.
And so I think we lose a lot of players that would have gone the baseball route instead of the softball route because of that initial interaction, right? And that initial like not misunderstanding of girls play softball and boys play baseball.
Yeah.
After that, once they get past that point, these girls are like adamant about I play baseball. I do not play softball. Right. And everyone corrects us. Like I've been corrected my entire forever of I'll say I coach baseball or whatever, and people will correct me and they'll say, you mean softball? And I'm like, no,
I
Coach
said what I said.
baseball. Yeah. And so when I was a player, it was the case. These little girls deal with it all the time. The women deal with it all the time. And even as a coach, it's an issue. I was on field in full uniform, managing our AAA team in spring training, and a coach from the other team asked me where I coach softball. And I was like,
Oh,
nope, don't coach softball, right? So I was coaching the U.S. national boys team. I was one of the trials coaches in full uniform, and the umpire asked me if I knew Jenny Finch, and unfortunately, I do know. I mean, no, no.
yeah.
Fortunately, I do know Jenny Finch, but I was like, damn it, this is like contradictory. Like, I do know Jenny Finch, but I don't coach softball. Like, this is not what I do. So,
Have you never seen A League of Their Own, you jackass?
yeah, yeah, totally. Totally. It's like what the heck,
Yeah.
but so that's always like a thing, a factor, a conflict. And so I really wish that girls were just given a better option at the start.
Yeah.
And then they switch, right? So I mean, if we're being real, there's more opportunity for girls in softball, right? And so they'll in the high school years they'll start to have that conflict. Um Before it used to be sooner, but now because of the MLB camps, it's kind of pushed it more into high school where they continue to get opportunities, and then they say, well, I probably want to go play softball in college, so I should probably switch to softball
Right.
during high school, and then they usually go that route. But MLB camps and USA baseball camps have kind of maintained a pretty strong pool of these young players that have stayed in baseball.
Great. And I guess my last question personally, like it's a question that everyone asks, but it's kind of hard to pinpoint. Do you think there is an avenue for a female baseball player in Major League Baseball down the line ever?
I think it's a hard one, and everyone loves to ask that question.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that's I'm no longer a player, but that's not our goal as women that play baseball, right? Was I'm sure if you ask somebody, yes, it's a goal because that's the only option that they had or the only option they see, right? Every little girl that plays baseball tells you they want to be the first major leaguer. Um, and so our goal isn't necessarily playing for Major League Baseball, right? It's just playing baseball at the highest level. If we could do that with other women,
Hmm.
that'd be great.
Yeah.
It's just it wasn't an option. So hopefully with more opportunities, through the national team and the WPBL that's coming out and stuff like that, and any other future league that may exist, women can get that opportunity. If we want to stick to that question, I think that the only way we do that is if they get an opportunity to play in college just like a guy would,
Right.
and continue to develop their skills. Our best female baseball players have had to switch to softball for college, and therefore there's a lapse of 3-4 years of them developing in the game of baseball, that would help them be, effective in
Hmm.
the affiliate system in the minor leagues and then into the major leagues. If you had to ask me what position, I would answer second base.
Really?
Yep.
I always assumed it would be like pitcher or something.
Everyone says pitcher. I just think I really don't think that's it.
Really? Why?
Yeah,
Why second base?
it's second base. You don't have to be big, like you don't have
Right.
to be big and strong, right? Like you don't
Yeah.
have to. Guys are naturally stronger than us. We get that.
Yeah.
It's hard to sell outfield. It's hard to sell a corner position, right? Catcher is another one hard to sell because you're not going to get this like specimen of a female that also just like it's almost feels like impossible, right?
Yeah.
Of to play at that level. I feel like you get an athletic middle infielder and you put her at second base and she can do well. She can contribute. It's not that women can't hit for power, it's just not gonna be consistent like an outfielder these days, right? Or like your
Yeah.
corner guys. So she'll hit for power, she'll also just move runners, get on base, right? Have a on base percentage be her thing, and then also be able to field that position. I don't know. I really
I
think
like
that's
it.
the spot.
I
Um,
like it.
Pitcher is too much. You have to have the velo these days. You show up on at a trial without mid 90s to high 90s, no one's gonna look at you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So no
So
no knuckleballers then.
no, I don't. I just don't think it's gonna. I don't. I really don't believe it.
I respect that. I 100%. And I've changed perspective. I appreciate that.
I think second base is the spot.
Second base it is.
Noted.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I want to give a quick shout out to the Ellisville Coyotes, which existed in like 2006. My mom was the head coach of my brother's baseball team
No
back in the
way.
day. Oh yeah.
Seriously?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
That's
she was
awesome.
ferocious and I'm pretty sure ejected from a few games. So
Yeah, that's what we need.
for arguing balls and strikes, of course.
Yes, of
No, but
course.
it was I could only imagine like the um I mean, she knew baseball. She grew up loving the St. Louis Cardinals, which is where I'm from. Obviously, a huge fan of the game, a student of the game. So, why not? But
Why not?
it must have been different.
Yeah.
Especially, geez, yeah, that's probably 15 years ago or so.
Shout out to
Um,
Mrs. Critchell.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
love
right.
it.
On the
Yeah,
forefront.
that's amazing. I mean, yeah, like to me, it's like we have the same capacity to learn,
Yeah.
Hmm.
right? Like, and why not? Like, if I know the game and I can teach it and I'm willing to learn and continue to stay a student of the game, like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Put
100%.
but yeah,
Yeah.
it's
And
always a top.
the attention to detail.
Yeah, oh, the attention to detail is big. The communication's another one. It's actually so me being in charge of the DR, people's initial reactions like you're gonna put a woman in charge of all these Latin men. And my boss uncovered the secret juice. I don't know with it. It's like um truthfully, I mean, I know Latin men. I'm Cuban and I grew up around this Latin culture in Miami. Um but Latin men most respect their moms and sisters and grandmothers. And so
Agreed.
it's like though there's a stereotype, right, that they are machistas or they don't want to disappoint, right? They want to be good for us and to us, right? And things like that. So I really feel respected by them. And when I speak to them, it might be more of like a parental, like I'm disappointed in you, I'm not mad at you, right? Like, and they don't want to let me down in that sense. So it's been really good in the way that they've responded to me and the things I've implemented and my ideas and all those things. And but it really is a secret to success.
Fantastic.
The
Good to know.
female power.
Yeah.
Female power, the feminine mystique, if you will.
That's right. That's
Secret of the
right.
sauce, for sure.
Veronica,
Great.
thank you so, so much for taking a few minutes to talk to us. This was fantastic, and you do fantastic work. So really looking up to you for everything that you've accomplished in the sport.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you both.
Absolutely.
And do you have like an X account or something that we can tag when we put this out?
I do. I think it's V8 Alvarez,
Okay, I'll find it.
and then my Instagram.
Yeah, I'll tag you on Instagram.
Okay, sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Veronica.
All right. Thank you.